Okay, so a little chat today about the transformation I went through coming from an out of shape non-athlete mom of three into a world-class track and field athlete. How does that happen? I'm going to share with you what I went through and some of the things that I learned from that so that they can be hopefully inspirational and helpful to you for wherever you're starting your fitness journey or your desire to have a healthier, more fit body. There's two things I want you to take away from my story. One is that I never started with this huge goal in mind. I just became in love with the feeling of progress. So I never set out to say that not that I was ever going to run a race, let alone compete on a world stage. I never set out to say that I was going to be like bikini ready or anything like that. I just love the feeling of progress, and I stayed very micro focused on little tiny goals and changes versus having a big outcome. So two things, the micro focus and the sense of progress. So it started, when my kids were toddlers. I had them very close together, 3 in a row, and I was very unhappy at that point in my life with a lot of things about myself. In a later video, which I'll tag below, I share kind of what transformed inside of me with my kind of spiritual, mental, emotional. That was a huge part of this journey as well. Today I'm just going to talk about the external changes that happen because a lot of people are more curious about that. But so I started taking to boot camp twice a week just as a way to do something to feel better about myself. And I am a consistent person, so I went consistently twice a week for several months and then started to go 3 times a week. And then the instructor approached me and asked me if I would consider teaching a boot camp. So yeah, I started teaching boot camp, so that put me in the gym more. At that point, I still was overweight. I was not down to my ideal weight yet, but I still would get in front of people and teach the classes. Starting to get more excited, like yes, I wanted my body to change and I wanted to lose weight and be more toned, but I was starting to really enjoy the sense of strength and seeing how much more I could do. I remember when I did my first 10 push-ups, I was so excited. I felt very proud of myself. Then, of course, that addiction to progress, I'm like, well, what if next time I could do 12? And then what if next time I could do 20? And I remember when I did my first pull-up thinking, wow, what if I could do 3 pull-ups? And then when I hit my 3 pull-ups, it was just incremental. I never started out saying I want to be able to do 50 push-ups and 10 pull-ups. Like I could do those things eventually, but I just started very micro-focused with what are the successes that I felt by doing more than I thought I could, and then doing more the next time, and then doing more the next time. That worked for me to stay micro-focused and celebrate these tiny, tiny wins along the way. I started running 1 time a week just as a way to, I guess, add an extra workout in and kind of increase my fitness in a different way. And I remember the first time that I got up to 2 miles feeling so proud of myself. Like it was hard, but I was so proud of myself. And then again, the addiction to progress. I didn't set out with a goal saying I'm going to be able to run, 13 miles or a half marathon or 5K. I just thought like, well, can I do more the next time? Could I do a little more the next time? And it was fun to me, and that feeling of being proud of yourself is so addicting. It's almost as equally as rewarding as weight loss. So by this point, I had started to really lose weight, and it wasn't so much a focus on that as a focus on the activities that it took to do that, meaning the workouts and making progress in every workout and staying consistent. That doesn't sound very sexy, just stay consistent, stay focused on progress, and just make small wins, but for me it was a winning formula. So I started to lose weight. I started to run with a friend, and we got up to about 5 miles. And I remember the day, I even remember the pants I was wearing that day because I was so proud of myself that I had run 5 miles. And so my friend challenged me. She said, what if we load up our kids, our 2 youngest toddlers, in a double stroller, and me and you work together and we run this 5-mile race and try to hit 8-minute pace. And that sounded like a really fun challenge to me. So a couple days before this 5-mile race, she had something come up and she canceled, but I decided to do it anyway. And I did it by myself, and no lie, I ran so hard that at the end of the race, I almost blacked out. Like someone had to steady me, and I think I peed myself a little bit. I pushed myself so hard. But I was so impressed afterwards. Not that I had just done it, that was the first race I had run, but my time wasn't too shabby. And I started to think, again, here's the progress thing. What if I actually trained for a race like this? How fast could I, how well could I do? So I got a coach and I started to run 5Ks. I started to train for 5Ks. My first 5K, I remember the goal, I was just seeing could I get down to 21 minutes for a 5K? And so I worked and then hit that goal and then set more goals after that. That was exciting. And by this point, my weight loss was complete. I was at the weight that I wanted to be, and I felt healthy and strong and fit and fast. By this point, I had been working out probably 6 days a week now, and just staying super consistent for this. By this point in the journey, it had been about 5 years. So it's not sexy, but it's just staying consistent and making these tiny progress goals and starting to be more excited about the progress than I was about the weight loss. I eventually opened a personal training business, and that's one thing that I would really help my clients to stay focused on instead of victories on the scale, is how they could see how much more weight they were lifting, how much stronger they felt, how much better their clothing fit, other things that they could feel proud of for themselves and get kind of addicted to that feeling of progress rather than being so focused on the outcome of this body that they wanted to have. So anyway, I was running 5Ks, but I would find that I really hated them. I was starting to be able to place in the top 3 and sometimes win some cash prizes. That was fun, but I really, really hated that kind of race, and I wondered if it wasn't the right fit for me. So I noticed that there was a couple mile races in my area, and I decided, what if I just train for the mile and see if that works better? And I noticed when I ran the miles, I was fast, and I would actually beat people who could beat me in a 5K. So it started to tip me off to oh, maybe I'm actually a faster person than I am a distance person. And I actually loved it a lot more. So at this point in my life, a woman entered in, and she's still one of my best friends, who told me about the world of track and field, which I did not know existed past collegiate level or Olympic level, but it's for masters, meaning anyone over the age of 30, and you can run in 5-year increments up till you're 100. I've seen 100-year-old people out there on the track. It's amazing. And it actually, that was the impetus for the book that I wrote called Living Younger, because I saw these athletes in their 70s, 80s, and 90s out there living their best life in great health, and it totally transformed my paradigm. So I got into the world of track and field, and I started to train even faster. I dropped the mile, went down to the 800, and eventually landed on the 400. And what just led me to the success in that was just that continual addiction to progress, meaning, okay, next workout, how can I run this better? Or next race, what can I do different? How can I get faster? What can I do to improve myself? It's just that constant, steady, never-ending improvement and look for progress that has helped me in this transformation. So I actually have lived backwards. It feels funny because at the age of, in my mid-20s, when I had these 3 toddlers, the way I looked and felt energy-wise and felt emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and what my body was capable of doing, I actually can do, so much more now in my early 40s as far as fitness, strength, physique, than I did 15 years ago. So I share that with the desire to encourage you that whatever age you start at, you can absolutely reverse time. You can be better than you ever were. As another case in point, I'm training a woman who started training with me when she's 63. She never in her life could do push-ups on the ground. Now she can get down and bang out 10 push-ups on the ground. You can start at any age. And if you stay consistent and you stay addicted to the feeling of progress, and how can I do each one better? How can I get better next week? How can I get better the week after that? That you can, at any age, achieve far more than you ever thought you could. So that's how I got from a stay-at-home mom of 3 kids who was out of shape and a non-athlete to a world stage. I just covered about a 8 or 9 year process. It did not happen overnight. It just happened with consistency, being committed to progress, and celebrating those small wins along the way. I didn't start out with a huge goal in mind. And I want to add 2 more tips or things I've realized over the last decade is form follows function, meaning training for weight loss can be really boring. and you're doing workouts and you're working, if that's the only goal, your body, your form follows the function. So the way you train it is the way it will look. If you're taking Zumba classes or cycling, your body's going to start to look more like, the people in the Zumba class or the people in the cycling class. If you're training as a marathon runner, that'll look a certain way. If you're training as a sprinter, that'll look a certain way. If you can see in the picture, even though I had lost weight by the time I started to run competitively, when I switched from distance to sprinting, I had a physique change. It got even better. I had even more muscle tone. I got even leaner. You can see the difference there because my form followed my function. Now I was training my body like a sprinter. Before I was training it like a distance runner. Before that I was training it for fit loss. In the beginning I was training it for weight loss. So your form follows your function. So focus on what kind of function you're making your body do rather than thinking my goal is weight loss. I'm training for weight loss. That's not a function. Think about a function. How do you want the body to function? And then the form will follow that. So that's one thing I want to leave with you. Another thing, I haven't talked a whole lot about nutrition, but I will say this. I know there's a lot of research supporting food journaling and maybe calorie counting and portion measuring. Those are good little crutches in the beginning, but they're not sustainable. And the sooner that you can start to get in tune with your body and in sync with your body rather than fighting against it and trying to impose these rules on it, the healthier you're going to be. So one thing that I have loved about my journey is I tried all those things. There was a time when I tried menus. There was a time when I tried portion sizes. There was a time when I tried to chart my macronutrients and count grams of protein and I've tried all that stuff, and I've helped other people to use those techniques. What I love about where I'm at right now is that I'm in tune with my body, meaning when I'm hungry, I eat. I have a good sense of what my body needs. And so if there's a day, like say it's Thanksgiving or say it's Christmas, and I consumed a lot more than I normally would have, the next day I naturally, if I'm listening, I'm not as hungry and I can go till noon or 1 and not really have the need for food. So I've developed this good balance with myself that I don't need any sort of counting, tracking. I don't weigh myself anymore. I don't need to pay attention to that because I've learned over time to be friends with myself, to be friends with my body, to listen to it, to nurture it, and to build a strong relationship with it. And that's one thing I want to leave with you too, is that so many people that I've coached are not friends with their body, meaning you resist your body, you're irritated at it. It doesn't look the way you want, it doesn't move the way you want, it doesn't feel the way you want. You're feeding it crap, you're treating it like crap, and you're mad at it that it's not more, it's not better. That's an abusive relationship. And so one thing that I love to help people do is to become friends with their body. Like your body is your friend. It's your best friend. It's your only tool and medium for expressing and navigating in the world. And so to start to listen to it and work with it and allow it to do its thing, like your body wants to be healthy. It wants to be lean and it's trying to communicate you, but you're doing things to it that are sabotaging its ability to work for you. So it's like allowing yourself to flow with it and to honor it and to listen to it, to give it the things it needs so it can do its job for you, as opposed to like feeding it garbage or treating it like crap, not giving it exercise and then being mad at it that it's not doing its job for you and feeling like something's wrong with you or you have a broken metabolism. It's not that. It will heal for you. It'll work for you. It'll perform for you. If you start to love it, become its friend, its best friend, listen to it and work with it. Anyway, just sharing a couple of the things that I've learned. I hope this helps you. I would love to hear from you. Please leave me comments. Like this video and please subscribe to my channel. I want to continue to elevate you, mind, body, and spirit to help you become the highest version of yourself.